Alright, let's be honest. Tech giants are everywhere. Amazon runs retail, Google practically owns the internet, and Apple, well, Apple keeps making us buy another iPhone that's just slightly better than the last one. It kind of feels like they're unbeatable, right? Like if you're trying to start something, how do you even compete? But here's the thing, some companies do compete. Some don't just survive, they actually win against these giants. And that's exactly what Smart Rivals by Feng Zhu is all about. Now, I picked this book because I've always been fascinated by how startups and small businesses manage to carve out their own space even when trillion-dollar companies are beating down their necks. It's easy to assume that Amazon, Google, Apple, and Facebook have already won the game. But that's not true. Some businesses actually beat them, not by going head to head, but by playing an entirely different game. And that's what we are diving into today. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how tech giants dominate, where they struggle, and how smart businesses outmaneuver them, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or just someone curious about how industries evolve. Trust me, you're gonna love this. Alright, let's get into it. First things first. Why do these giants dominate in the first place? It comes down to four major advantages. Number one, scale. They can produce and deliver things at an insane speed and cost. Number two is data. Let's be real, they know everything about us. Number three, network effects. The more people use their platforms, the better they get. And number four, ecosystem lock in. You don't just buy an iPhone, you get trapped into Apple's entire ecosystem. So, yeah, it feels impossible to compete with them. But here's the part, these very strengths also had their own weaknesses. When you're that big, you can't move fast, you can't personalize, you can't pivot quickly when things change. That's where smart companies find their openings. Let's look at an example. Think about Domino's Pizza. When food delivery apps like Uber Eats and DoorDash started taking over, they could have just sat back and let their sales slip. But no. Instead, they focused on what they do best, which is fast, consistent, and reliable delivery. They built the pizza tracker, they streamlined their operations, and became the first name people think of when they want pizza delivered fast. Or take Fujifilm versus Kodak. When digital cameras killed film, Kodak gone. Fujifilm, they reinvented themselves. They figured, hey, we know chemistry, we know how to make things last. Why not get into skincare and healthcare? And now they're thriving. Okay, what's the lesson? Tech giants have blind spots. And if you want to win, you don't fight them directly. You find the gaps they can't fill. So, how do you actually do that? First rule, never try to beat a tech giant at their own game. They will always be cheaper, faster, and bigger. Instead, you make them irrelevant by playing a different game, which is stated in this book. For example, Amazon might dominate e commerce, but you know what it can't do? Offer a deeply personalized, high touch experience like Sephora. Another one, local bookstores should have been dead by now, right? But instead, they leaned into curation, community events, and author meetups, things Amazon simply can't replicate. Another example, Netflix went all in on quantity, but HBO doubled down on premium, high quality storytelling. That's why, even in the streaming wars, HBO is still standing strong. The takeaway again, don't try to beat a giant at their own game. Instead, play a game they can't win. Now, let's talk about something that can change completely the way a business competes, platforms. Here's a crazy example. Z Delivery in Brazil, it's a beer delivery startup. If they had just sold beer, they'd be competing directly with grocery stores and delivery apps. But instead, they became a platform connecting local liquor stores, couriers, and customers. They promise cold beer delivered in 22 minutes. It worked so well that Amber, one of the world's biggest beer companies, had to buy into it. See, platforms aren't just about selling a product. They connect people, create ecosystems, and offer something bigger than just a transaction. And you know what the best part is? Even small businesses can do this. For example, if you own a gym, don't just sell memberships, build an online fitness community. If you're running a bakery, start a subscription service for fresh baked goods. If you're creating a content like me, don't just rely on YouTube, launch a paid newsletter or community. So, what's the goal? Make yourself the hub of something bigger. Now, let's talk about disruption, the thing that destroys entire industries. Tech giants love to shake things up. They roll out new products, enter new markets, and suddenly an entire industry gets wiped out. But the smartest companies, they don't just survive disruption, they ride the wave. Let's look at an example. Take DBS Bank. Traditional banks were scared of fintech startups like Revolut and Stripe. But instead of fighting them, DBS became a fintech company itself. They went fully digital, launched AI driven banking, and made transactions smoother and faster than ever. So, the lesson here is when an industry shifts, don't fight it. You must adapt, evolve, make the disruption work for you. All right, but what if a tech giant does come after you? As stated in the book, smart rivals defend themselves in three ways. They avoid total dependence. Shopify helps businesses sell online without having to rely on Amazon. They use regulations to their advantage. Spotify fought Apple's unfair App Store fees and got the EU to step in. They create exclusive partnerships. Epic Games locked in deals that forced players off Steam. It's not just about growing, it's about protecting what you've built. Let's get into the final takeaways. So, what's the biggest lesson in smart rivals that everyone should learn? You don't have to be the biggest to win, you just have to play differently. Instead of fighting giants, find the weaknesses. Instead of trying to outscale them, focus on personalization, experiences, and niche strengths. And if you can, build a platform, not just a product. Look, end of the day, tech giants are powerful, no doubt. But history has shown us again and again that smart, strategic rivals can outmaneuver them. So, what do you think? Which of these strategies do you see working in your industry? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this useful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insights. And I highly recommend reading this book to get more insights on the book and more case studies. Catch you in the next one.